Let's create a plastic bottle in Blender. So delete everything, add a cylinder, and have 20 vertices. It's very, very important. So for this tutorial, we will be using a reference image, and you can find them on Google. But press here, image, reference, and I will take my reference image, and I will toggle X-ray mode so I can see through the mesh, and I will make this reference image fit the size of the cylinder, or you can scale the cylinder after the reference image. Okay, and I will try to center it as much as possible, like that. Okay, then I will toggle the cylinder, or select the cylinder, then go into edit mode, scale it so it fits the reference. And if you see here the reference, it's a little bit too much on the side, then you can just slide it to the side a bit. Go into edit mode on the cylinder and create a base form for the bottle. So before we add a subdivision modifier, we want to have some base to work with to make it easier for ourselves. So up here I will press E, S, scale it up, then press E again, move it up a bit, press E again, S, scale it down, and then E again, and then ES to scale it up, and scale it up like that. And now if we go into object mode, we see it looks like the top. Okay. I will go into edit mode again, and I will do the same here. I will extrude and extrude one more time. And I can also scale this up a little bit, and we can add another loop cut up here, and by adding a loop cut we can scale this down. And if you don't know how to add a loop cut, press Ctrl R to add a loop cut. But we don't want too many loop cuts. We want to keep the mesh so simple as possible. Okay, now I feel it's okay, so I will add a subdivision surface modifier. And if we go into edit mode, we can see the mesh looks not so good right now, but don't worry about it. We will toggle the cylinder, go into edit mode, and now if we select the faces here and insert it, you will see immediately it's perfect. And we will scale it a little bit down. We can also turn up the resolution, but don't turn it above 3. It's not necessary. I think 2 is enough for modeling. You can toggle X-ray again and see here in edit mode, we want to have the mesh to fit the form of the reference image. So we can see here on the reference image it goes in a little bit. So I will add a loop cut, and I will scroll my mouse wheel one time and then press left click, move it down, and then press S, Z, so I scale it down in Z axis. Then I will press Ctrl B to bevel it a little bit. Then I will select this in the middle by pressing Alt left click, and I will scale it down a little bit and also scale it on the Z axis, just like that. And we can here also press I one time, and if it looks like this, press I one more time, and we scale it up. Now we can see it looks sharp here, but it's not super sharp. So if we can add another loop cut here, hold Control or like that, and we can scale it up. We can also insert the face by pressing I. I think that looks better. We can do the same up here. Press Alt, left click, I, and up here we will select or add a loop cut, drag it down to make it sharp. Perfect. And we do the same here also. Alt, left click, insert, same here. Okay, I will also do it here. Insert. Now, it looks sharp and perfect. I will add a second loop cut up here to make the top more sharp. Okay, we move down to here. Do the same here. We want this to be a sharp edge. Insert it. Perfect. Now we toggle into X-ray mode. We can see it looks okay. I will select the vertices. No, I will select edges like this, and I will press G and Z to move them down just a little bit. And then I will move this up just a little bit too. Okay, now it looks more like the reference image. It's perfect. I will also add another loop cut down here. Press right click, then I'll scale it down just a little bit so it gets this smooth form. Okay, and down here we can see it has some, it goes out a little bit, so I will add another loop cut here, and I will press Shift Tab to move it down, and I will press S to scale it up, and then I will add another loop cut down here to make it more sharp. And then if we go out of edit mode, we can see it has that kind of edge here. But I think it might be too sharp, so I will move this down a little bit like this. And also I can select these edges with Alt, left click, and then I will scale it down just a little bit so it gets a bit smoother. Okay, now we are halfway through. Now it's just the bottom left. So I will select this face down here, and I will go into side view, toggle X-ray, and I will insert this face, something like that. It doesn't have to be super small, but do it as you like. Then we will select 3 in a row, leave 1 in the middle, and select 3. Leave 1, select 3, leave 1, select 3. Now we have 5 of these, which is good. Then here we press E one time and move it down a little bit. And now you can see the middle here looks a bit wonky, so we can select the face in here and press I one time. We can also press I one more time. So now it looks like this, and it looks okay. The bottom is a little bit too short, so we will go into edit mode, toggle X-ray, and then we will select everything like this and move it down. Now we can see the foot here is a bit too rounded. We want this to be more straight. So we go into X-ray mode and then we select these vertices here and we move them up like this. We do the same with this one. we press Alt G and we move it up just like that. And then I saw here, this edge here is outside of the reference image. So we will select this and scale it down even more. Move this up a bit. You want this edge here to match the reference image. That's what we are after. Okay, we can see now the mesh. It looks very weird. So what I will do is I will select these bottom faces here. No, select this here, here. Hold shift when you do this also. And I will move them down. GZ. That looks a bit better, I feel like. We can also, yeah, I'm satisfied with that. It looks good. We can select this face also and move it down and insert it. Now it looks okay. And in object mode, we can press right click and shade auto smooth. I'm satisfied with this. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but if you have any other shape, just do it as you want it. Okay, now we're pretty much done with the shape. So we will add a texture now. And before we add a texture, we will go into edit mode once again and select this X-ray. And we also want water in the bottle. So to do that, we will select these faces. And now we will press Shift D and scale it down just a little bit. And before we releases everything, we will press P to make it a separate object. Okay, so press Shift D, left click, S to scale it down just a little bit. And then we will press P selection. So now when we go out of edit mode, it's its own object. And we can name this to water. Okay, if we go out of X-ray, we can see that the water mesh is clipping through our water bottle. So we will have to modify it just a little bit so it doesn't clip through the mesh. So go into edit mode by pressing tab, toggle X-ray mode so we can see through the water bottle, and we will select these faces, move them up with Control Z, and then scale them down. We can also scale this down like that. That looks a bit right. Okay, we can scale this down a little bit too. Actually, I will select everything and scale it down so it matches everything like that. I think that looks a bit better. And I also saw that I have some clipping through here, so go into edit mode again. Underwater, toggle X-ray, and I will select everything here, and I will move it up just a little bit. And also select this and scale it down just a little bit like that. Okay, now we go into uh, toggle out of X-ray mode, and I still see a little bit of clipping here, so I will fix that too. That looks good to me. I don't see any clipping. now, which is good. If we unselect this, we can see it didn't have any top here. So what we'll do is go into edit mode, select the edge here by Alt, left click, press F one time, and now we see this weird thing again. So we select the face up here and we insert it one time. Perfect. Now we toggle out of edit mode, and now we will add the textures. Okay, we can also, if we want, we can make this top a separate object if you want to remove it, but for this tutorial, I will not do that. Okay, so for the texture, we will be using a texture that I got from wasnt. Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. I will leave his Instagram in the video description, so give him some love because I will be using his texture. Okay, so for the texture, we will be using the same kind of texture for both the water and the plastic bottle. So we will create the plastic first. So we press this plus button, add a new. We'll save. That's very important. Always save. Then we will change this to glass. And then we will add a mix shader. Shift A, mix shader. Drop it here. Then we'll add a transparent, transparent, put it in here. Then we will add a math node, math, and we will change this to maximum, and we will put this into the mix shader. So we will move this down a little bit, put it here, and then we need one more maximum, the same. So we will press this, Shift D, move it aside. Then we can copy this two more times, or actually one more time, change this to greater, greater than, and then we Shift D and move down. Now we need to connect this. So value to value, value to value. So we will change this down here, value to value. Perfect. We will add a light path. Yes, shadow ray goes here. Glossy depth goes here. And then we will add a value node. And this value node will go in here and here. We will also change this to 5. And this transparent depth goes here. Now it looks about right. And if we go into shader viewport and toggle cycles, and if we add also, we can add a sky texture here on the world. Sky texture, put it there. Now, if we add a plane, it gets easier to see what we're doing. We can also select the cylinder and the water. Press Control, press G, set, move it up a bit. Okay, so now we can see it has some plastic look to it. And we obviously turn down the roughness so we can see through it. I will leave some roughness to it because these also always have some little bit of roughness. They're not fully transparent. So now we have this material one here, and we press this. We press this one to add a new one. So now we have two of the same. And in this material 2, we will change this IOR to 1.333. And this will be our water texture. So we select the water here and we select this. Now it looks something like a water bottle. I will change the world settings here. I'll turn down the air and turn up the ozone a little bit. Okay, it looks a bit weird right now, but don't worry. I will press one more time here so it gets sharp. Okay, I think that will make it better. Yeah, that looks much better. Okay, now for the top, we will make it another color, and we just need to select the bottle, go into edit mode, toggle X-ray, zoom in. You can just zoom in with mouse wheel and control. Okay, now we select all these faces up here. I don't want to select that on the lowest, so select everything here. Make sure this rim is also selected, so press Shift Alt left click. Can be a bit tricky to get it right on the first try. Okay, I got it. Okay, now we will add another material and we will name this top and we will make it blue. Turn up the roughness, and before we do anything else we will assign it. So now we have a blue top. Perfect. I saw also that on the cylinder here I have the water material, so I will just press the minus and then I will press plus and I will add the material 1. Okay, now we go into shader viewport and it looks super weird. Don't worry, just do this again. Go into the edit mode, select this one, new, top, assign, going out of edit mode. And now it's pretty much done. If you want to add a text on the bottle here on a piece of paper, you have to assign or apply the modifier, and then I will show you how to do it. But first, before I do that, I will press Ctrl S, and then I will make a copy of the cylinder. I can change this to bottle. Now I will make a copy of this by pressing either Shift D or Control C V. Now I have a copy of this and I will unselect this. So on this bottle, I will apply this, go into edit mode. Now it looks very complicated and it's quite much going on here. It's a lot of polygons, but if you want to add some text, this is the only way of doing it. So select X-ray mode, select the faces you want the paper to be, press Shift D, right click, no left click, then scale it up just a little bit and then press P as we did with the water. So Shift D, left click, scale it up just a little bit, then we press P, selection, go out of edit mode, and now this is I will name this to paper, and I will assign a new material to this paper. So I will select the paper and I will uncheck this and I will create a new material called paper. So on this one, we can add text and we can add our label. If your model has these black spots, you can turn down the value to make them disappear, but keep in mind that as low as this goes, or the lower you get, the less realistic it gets. So try to keep this as high as possible, but I would keep it at 5. I think that looks great. I forgot to say that if you want the water to look more realistic, you can change the color to slightly blue because it looks much more better if it's slightly blue. If it looks too blue, then it looks weird, but make it just a little bit. And if you want to make it look even more realistic, you can add an HDRI, and you can find them on Polyheaven. If you want a tutorial on how to render an image from this, comment that down below so I know if I should make a tutorial about it or not. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. I really love the support I get from you guys. It's amazing. So have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.